And I could say, well, here's why I'm not a Christian. Because your New Testament, the way you've been taught to read it, is wrong. Okay, this isn't who you think Jesus was. Your own New Testament says he's not. So convince me to be a Christian now. But you can find in 19th century scholarship, real scholarship, I mean, heavy duty, these are the heavy hitters of biblical studies for their day. Articles proving that Jesus wasn't a Jew, but that he was a member of the Aryan race.
Wait, you're telling me that was in like scholarship?
Peer-reviewed academic scholarship.
In the 19th century?
And it would, the article I'm thinking of starts off with just the phrase in the Old Testament that, the phrase Galilee of the Gentiles. And so they would begin, the author goes through all the places where Galilee is associated with Gentiles and not Jews. And Peter's Galilean accent, Jesus' time in Galilee, where he goes, who he knows, who his friends are, who's his neighbors, his family members, all this kind of stuff. And the guy is angling to show that Jesus was a Galilean. And Galilee was of the Gentiles, not the Jews. Now, he throws a whole lot more into the mix, but that's the main thread that runs through the article. Now, I could take that into a classroom and I could mimic what this guy does with one Old Testament phrase. It gets repeated in the New, Galilee of the Gentiles. And I could say, well, here's why I'm not a Christian. Because your New Testament, the way you've been taught to read it, is wrong. Okay, this isn't who you think Jesus was. Your own New Testament says he's not. So convince me to be a Christian now.
So,
and if you are totally unable to even get out of the gate to know what the guy's doing with the data he's using, and either why he's doing it, how he's processing it incorrectly, or connecting it to the next thought incorrectly, you're toast. Now, you may not lose your faith, but what I've done is I've sown a seed of doubt in you. And I'm going to let it germinate. Because then you're going to go off and you're going to watch a History Channel episode. Or you're going to pull a magazine off the impulse stand at the grocery store about the historical Jesus versus the Christ of the Gospels. And a lot of other seeds are going to be planted.
Or just all the anti-Semitism in the church at the time when Hitler came to power, and how, were those guys, I know Calvin and Luther and those guys got into anti-Semitism. Was that?
It wasn't sinister. I mean, anti-Semitism just is sinister. It's wrong, but they weren't using that as a trajectory to go off into crazy town, like with Aryan racial theory and all that kind of stuff.
This guy was
but this guy was. Okay, wow. This guy was.
Did Hitler run with that? Did he?
Well, I don't know that Hitler knew this guy's, he probably knew of it. I don't know that he knew it directly, but the point for us is that is an obscure source. A 19th century academic journal written by some Old Testament scholar, okay? I can find that because I'm a geek, all right? But what people don't realize is that a lot of these TV shows, Ancient Aliens, History Channel, this or that, anything with Jesus, a lot of that stuff gets mixed in. I mean, they'll interview scholars, sure, but they'll mix it in with stuff that they just literally find on the internet. And there are people who find this material and then they put it on their website, they do a podcast on it, they do a YouTube video on it, and it just replicates and multiplies. So it's very unlikely that young people in your church will never have seen a lot of really bad thinking about the Bible. The odds are that they do. They run into it all the time. And so if they have questions and you either say, that's just not important, we don't need to worry about that. What that signals to them, or at least can, is that you don't know, or you're hiding something, or you're afraid. Okay, and none of that messaging is good. So I would say one of the best ways to help the people in your church, especially the young people, to lose their faith is to disconnect them from all of the Bible material except the stuff that you like to preach on. That's an excellent strategy.
Say that again. That's
one of the best ways to help the people in your church, especially the young people, to lose their faith is to disconnect them from all the stuff in the Bible that you don't like to preach on.
Wow.